Okay, good morning. This is Dr. Brandy Marks, Biblical Licensed Mental Health Counselor, Vancouver, Washington. Today we're looking at practical parenting, dealing with discipline. You know, there's a lot of ways you can prevent problems before you have to get into the discipline. For example, move it. I remember when my firstborn son was just a baby and he was in the walker. He'd learned to crawl pretty much, but wasn't walking yet. And even when but he was in one of these little round things that you could move around all over the place. And my mother was a smoker. I was too at the time. And at any rate, she would slap his hands when he'd put them in the ashtray and was chewing on cigarette butts. And and I'd say, Mom, he just doesn't understand. Move the ashtray. She says, no, he has to learn not to do this. Well, needless to say, as soon as I got a job, I moved out of my mother's house because I did not agree with her behavior and the way she was trying to teach this young boy not to touch cigarettes by beating his hands. Oh, that still irritates me and hurts my heart today to think about the fact that I lived there so long when he was a baby, up until he was about 6 months old anyway, and then I was able to move out. But instead of, we all can't move out, but we can learn to move it out of the way. Look around your house. Do you have certain things, special things sitting around on the coffee or end tables or shelves? Does it seem you're always needing to say, don't touch that? Hopefully you're not slapping your child's hands and scowling at him. Children are very interested in exploring pretty things, interesting things, nasty things even. Both of my kids went for the slugs in the mouth. Ew, my mom was always the one to take the slug out of their mouth. I couldn't touch the nasty thing. Thank God she was there to do it. One way they explore is by touch. When they're terribly curious, they're just learning, people. Don't be upset with them. Move it out of the way. Do yourself and the children a favor. Get it up and out of the child's reach. You'll save yourself a lot of reminding, a lot of frustration, and your pretty things will stay safe, and the disgusting things will stay out of your child's hands and mouth. Okay. Think about changes you can make to stop problem behavior. Reminders. If you often find yourself saying, don't play on the stairs or whatever, put a child safety gate at the top or bottom of the stairs. The gate will keep the children from climbing on the stairs, so you won't have to remind them. If you have a real adventuresome child that insists on trying to climb over or under the gate, you need to pay more attention. Children need time and attention from parents. You just can't put up safety gates or other things. You also have to give them your time and attention and not just use the excuses, well, I'm ADHD or I'm bipolar. Sometimes my emotions are and I just can't. No, it's your responsibility as a parent when you chose to have children to learn more about your own self and how to work with you and your either ADHD or outrageous emotions of your own, how to manage them to help your child and not use it as an excuse for not doing what you need to do as a parent. If your outdoor play area doesn't have a fence around it and you can't afford a fence, well, children have trouble remembering how far they're allowed to go. They're busy playing. They're a child. You're the adult. Okay, find a way. Use a piece of brightly colored rope. Have the children help you to lay the rope on the ground around the outside of the play area, but you need to pay special attention here when they're outside as well. The next time then when they're outside though, or even in the house, if there's areas where they're not supposed to go, put some brightly colored rope down. We play inside the yellow rope to be safe, or the bright orange rope, the bright green rope. Bright yellow and bright green seem to be wonderful, but especially yellow. This is why they use it on sidewalks. So the next time, remind them, we play inside the yellow rope to be safe. Children want to please adults. It's important to tell them what they can do to please you instead of what they can't do that upsets you. What to do or not to do. Tell children what you want them to do. Children often hear us tell them what they shouldn't do instead of our taking some extra thought and time to say, keep your feet on the floor instead of don't swing your feet up. You need to keep your feet inside the kitchen area while I'm doing the dishes. When I'm done, then we can walk outside the kitchen area or the bathroom, wherever you're at. Give warnings. Change is hard for all of us, adults or children. It's especially hard when playing to stop and do something else. It's especially hard when you're overly focused on something, to change what you're doing. But practicing to give that second ear and eye in your peripheral vision to what that child is doing while you're focused on the dishes or paying the bills or whatever. You have to remind yourself that you have a child that needs your attention. Giving a 5-minute warning to help children plan for change is really helpful if they're busy in an activity and you want them to end it, say, in 5 minutes. Say, in 5 minutes, we're going to put away the toys and wash our hands for lunch. Okay, you have 5 minutes here. In 5 minutes, I will stop with the dishes or whatever I'm doing, and then we'll go do something else. You set a timer to remind you to stop the activity or them to stop their activity and go and do something else. Okay, you may want to set a timer, as I said, as a reminder for both of you. Have active and quiet times. Kids need both for every day throughout the day. Active times gives them time to run, jump, climb, chase, dance, ride a bike, use lots of energy outside whenever possible as the weather permits. Quiet times give children time to calm down and take a breath and relax, settle themselves during a busy day. For example, puzzles, coloring, listening to stories, playing with clay, sand, or water. I use all of these in counseling with young children. They love it. It'll quiet them down in a heartbeat. A quiet activity before nap time helps to calm them. So watch their behavior during the day. If they're getting excited or out of control and they're not paying attention, they may need some quiet time. Or maybe they need to go outside or be busy with you doing something. Set the dishes, the bill paying, the whatever, bed making, the washing clothes. Say, okay, let's take some fun time together and take 5, 10, 15 minutes with them to play a game, to roll on the floor somersault with your children. Okay, plan quiet activities for times when they need to be calm, like just before a nap. And remember, prevent problems by giving your children time and attention as little as 5 to 10 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day. It's not that much, and it will make a huge difference. School-age children need your time and attention right after school and at bedtime, right before school. Weekends, they need time with all of you as a family, ideally one whole day or at least several hours each day of the weekend for some planned activity. Parenting sessions. When you have problems, you may find the following helps to resolve those problems. These are suggestions for managing problems. 1-for-1 plan. One child at a time, one problem at a time, one step at a time until the problem is resolved. Strategies. Discussion and goal setting. Help the child understand expectations. You may have a picture set up for what they are. You may have it written out if the child's old enough to read. Planned practice of a desired behavior. Self-monitor taking responsibility. Daily report on behavior and discussion. Time management using a buddy system where the older child helps the younger child. Ideally, the older child is old enough to know how to do this. Okay, remember, keep it super simple. Handle one child at a time, one problem at a time, and never complain about them or explain yourself to them, to apologize or placate, or thinking that they're old enough to understand. Children that are very young won't understand long-winded explanations any more than an adult wants to hear long-winded explanations. Okay. Instead, know what you want to discuss. Don't let the child change the focus on you. Stick with the topic under discussion and be totally committed. You know, Write it down. If you have trouble keeping focus and you let yourself get distracted by them, write it down on a card and say, no, wait a minute, this is what we're talking about. Let's not get sidetracked. Stick with the topic. Don't be arrogant or use selfish pride that has no place in the topic. The goal is not to be right, it's to solve the problem. So you speak with legitimate authority, confidence, not pride or arrogance. It's not, look, we're going to do this my way. It's no, Tommy, behave now. You need to sit still and look at me while we discuss this. The problem, describe their behavior only. You walked away while I was talking. You hit your sister. This is not okay. Don't go into long-winded biblical explanations of why they shouldn't be doing it. That's for when they're older. Do not say, you're so rude. Instead, describe how you felt. I feel disrespected when you do that. That hurt your sister when you hit her. They may deny, blame you, or, well, I seen you hit her. Okay, if you're slapping your child on the hands or whatever, or spanking them, you may want to rethink how you're disciplining. Okay, you always walk away when I'm talking. Well, are you? If so, maybe you need to change your behavior. Okay, listen to what they respond, not when they're blaming you and so forth. Do not interrupt though until they are finished. Don't say one word to defend yourself. Be fair, but don't excuse their behavior. Well, it sounds to me like you're blaming me for what you just did. Okay, if I'm doing something wrong, then I'm willing to change my behavior. But let's talk about what you're doing that's not okay right now and what you can do to change your behavior. And don't excuse what you have done. Paraphrase to clarify for understanding. I heard you say that you've seen me, or I've hit you at times when I've been upset. Is that right? Is that what you said? Okay. Do you think that was right of me to do that? I agree with you. It wasn't. I need to change my behavior. But right now we're talking about your behavior. Circumstances. Consider unusual situations without using them to excuse their behavior. There may have been a change in events that were beyond their control. They didn't have enough information or the skills to do the task. They may have had personal problems that created excess stress. Look for alternatives, a solution both of you can live with. Ask them to help you find a solution. Be willing to honestly consider their ideas, no matter how strange they may be. Paraphrase what they have to say. Listen, look at them, learn from them, and paraphrase. Ask them to paraphrase you for greater clarity and understanding. I saw a friend do this once when I was in counseling school. She said, Mitchell, I want you to go do such and such and so and so. And he's running around back. Do you understand what I said? Yeah, I heard blankety bink, 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 bink all over the place. She says, Mitchell, come here. Tell me what you heard me say. He was able to repeat it back to her. And by doing that, she said, great, now I know you heard me. And he actually did what was expected of him the next time. So when she came home, the task was done. It was fabulous. Okay. Agreement. Both of you agree on the solution. Put it in writing if necessary, and both of you sign it. This is with the older child, but a young child can put their fingerprint on it. Okay, there's some food coloring or some ink from, or crayon. Just put your crayon X mark on it, okay? You may have to negotiate some things to reach a mutual agreement, but don't get too flexible. Never compromise by agreeing to do something you don't believe is right. Be sure you both agree on it. A plan. Once you reach an agreement together, design a plan to complete the task. Okay, so how will it get done? Who will do what? What do you see me doing? This is what I expect from you. This is what I want to see you doing. This is what I want to hear from you. What are the consequences? Okay, if you both have a part, then both need consequences for non-compliance. Visualize. Be sure the child has a clear vision of what the outcome will look like or what it will sound like. If it's a verbal, audio thing, be sure both of you understand what needs to be done for success. Sally agrees to do such and such. and have it done and be finished by. Follow up. Make sure the task gets done. This makes good sense and it builds trust. Decide on what will happen if it's not done in a timely manner. Write it down and follow through and complete it, or if not completed. If the task is not done on time, Sally will, and then you both sign it, or X, the young child X's it. You could do this on a little recipe card. On one side, you have the follow-up. Well, okay. Sally agrees to, and on the back side of it, the task if not done. Okay. Then a behavior. Describe behavior you want changed. Pick up clothes, has to be improved by. Clothes need to be picked up before you come out of your room for breakfast in the morning. Clarify the problem. What, when, and where. So-and-so daily needs reminding to pick up their clothes before they come down to breakfast or before they leave for school. Describe acceptable behavior. Sally will keep her clothes hung up or in the dresser or at least off the floor with her bed made before she comes down to breakfast. Consequences for non-compliance. No friends over after school or before playtime. You lose a TV, a phone, stereo, game, etc. And of course, the written agreement will increase positive behavior, show improvement by, will appropriately ask for help by, will manage conflict by doing or saying such and such instead of. To get attention, I will ask for it instead of disturbing others and acting out, for example. Okay, other goals for improvement. List the goals, one per line. Use the behavior improvement plan. Have the child do one at a time and have success with that one goal before they move on. This could be a rating scale. Needs improvement. Made progress. Was well done. Waking up in the morning. Did they get up on time? How did the morning go? This is for a very young child. How did lunchtime go? The afternoon, evening, if they're in school. How did their school day go? Discuss daily with the child and share conflicts with your spouse, with a counselor, whatever. Okay. The following are strategies list, the consequences parents can give and how family members can help, and how the child can help. Consequences given by parents may be a verbal reprimand, timeouts, financial restitution. I've used that on both of my sons. A behavior improvement plan where the child writes a plan, possibly, if they're old enough. You may restrict privileges, have unpleasant work as consequences aside from their daily chores, home confinement, and so forth. We have covered this before. However, when you see a problem, instead of telling the children what you think the problem is, ask them what they think the problem is. Then ask them what they think could be done to solve the problem. Allow them to solve the problem even if their way differs from yours. Give it a try at least. Okay, here's positive responses family members can help with. Discussion, practice behavior, weekly conferences, writing a contract, and so on and so forth. I don't want to spend too much time on this. You can see it here and come back over and recheck the video later. Okay, consequences can be natural and logical. These are the best. Late going to bed, they're tired the next morning because they still have to get up at the right time. Radio not turned down, they lose it for 24 hours. They're playing their game, they're swearing and aggressive. You ask them to redirect themselves or they lose a certain privilege. You take the game away if they're smashing it or hitting on it. Negative activity of any time, they lose it for 24 hours. Although if it's a 5-year-old child, I suggest you take it away for 5 minutes. Okay, the older the child, the longer they lose the privilege. Negative activity, they lose that for 24 hours, maybe 12 hours if they're adolescent or teenager to start. Not do their chores, no friends over, and they don't go outside until they're done. Give them a choice. You can turn down the radio now or lose it for the next 12 to 24 hours. You can stop watching that violent show or whatever, or lose the television for the next 12 to 24 hours. You can do your chores or stay inside with no friends, TV, phone, or stereo until your chores are done. When you give a consequence and the child replies, "You can't make me," Well, they're absolutely right. Not without using power and control in a way that is violent. However, we do not use violence. Instead, tell them you can give up the game or TV now or lose it and all other privileges for 24 hours. This means you unplug the TV, the stereo, or take it away. Always document consequences so you can follow through on the results. It's their choice. You can do whatever now or lose it for whatever it is for however many hours or days, depending on the age of the child. This way, they are responsible for the choices they make and the consequences. You can feel guilty all day long, but they're responsible. You're not doing anything to them. They made a choice by their actions, and as such, they are responsible for the choice they made. You can have a cooperation log like this. If it's a child who's particularly difficult not doing daily self-care. Do they brush their teeth? Do they take a daily shower? What about education? Are they doing homework? Are they going to school? Their chores. Do they wash their dishes? Take the garbage out? Whatever. Needs help? They've improved somewhat. It's well done. Keep it really simple. So they can see that they improved or that it was well done. Don't have it too complicated with a 1 to 99. Okay. Keep it real simple for children. Discipline with love. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous, envious, selfish, or rude. Love does not demand its own way and is not irritable or touchy. It's patient and kind, giving choices. Love doesn't hold a grudge and hardly notices when someone does wrong. You don't keep bringing up the past. Deal with one problem at a time, one day at a time. Love rejoices in the truth, not in lies or the unjust. If you love someone, you are loyal and defend them, believe in them, and always expect the best of them. You don't complain to the neighbors about them. How is Tommy doing? He had some problems today, but he's improving. He's getting better. We're working on it. Whatever. What the Bible says? Think always and speak of what is pure and lovely, of good report. Okay. Praiseworthy. Power issues. No matter what we do, there are times when power struggles erupt and cause problems. Knowing how to respond in a power struggle and have greater peace of mind, the following section deals with this issue with simple steps to reduce struggles. And we're going to be covering that one next time. Imbalance of power in the home. Okay. God bless. This is Dr. Brandy Marks. You have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.